does this tell you about culture? What do all of these artifacts tell you about culture? Just a thought. Alright. I will try not to get lost, I promise. 5 main elements of culture. But here's the tricky part, is every one of these are interconnected in some way. For instance, daily life, you could look at that simply as routine. So hence why I showed you the Mandalay Planner, but then you could also think about using the calendar on your phone. There's plenty of other things. Some of you may have a wall calendar. So routines, but then also let's think now, what else happens in a daily life? So we have our routines that we follow, but like there could be activities, behaviors. When I say activities and behaviors, for instance, with behaviors, you brush your teeth in the morning and the afternoon. Hopefully you take a shower at least once a day, if not every couple of days. But then you could also say behaviors. Maybe some of you do like me. I get up and I try to meditate in the morning, and also in the evening, so that I can start my day off right. And now I'm bringing belief system into it. Belief system is not only related to religion, but it could be around practices, social expectations. What I'm giving you right now is not only what it is. These are the first things that come to mind off the top of my head. For instance, this is not a religious book, but this is a good book as far as these are 55 social etiquette rules that if everybody followed, there would be it would be much more calm, and the communication would be much more clear in a lot of ways. But that is also my personal opinion. And then, yeah, you could have religion brought into it as well. Social expectations, let's see, practices. Maybe there are rituals. And again, that's not just connected to religion. A ritual or a practice that we had when I was on the cross-country team in high school, if you were on the junior varsity team, before we'd line up on that starting line, me and the rest of my teammates would get together in a circle and we would start chanting a song. It was a song from the 1980s by Twisted Sister called "We're Not Gonna Take It," and we would start screaming that song. We'd have the same chant that we did before every race. That would get us really, really pumped up and jazzed, and when that gun went off, we were gone. And when I was on the varsity team, we had something similar, but in my opinion, not as cool. But so those are some rituals. Before every race, we would get together in that circle and we would scream our lungs out, and then we would take off. Forms of artistic expression. Now that one could be multiple things. For instance, I look at puzzles as artistic expression, but I also look at good books as art. And then also good movies. And you'll notice that these are the same. There is also definitely the art of gameplay. Building and fixing is an art form. And I understand also, once again, that there are so many things I don't know. Another art form is being able to clean a house. So I'm going to go with audio, visual, or hands-on. And then I'm going to write opportunities. Or practices. Economic activity. Yep, the obvious one, money. But then also jobs, education, trading and exchanging, I'm trying to think what else could it be. Personal, financial well-being. I'm thinking of Sherry's dilemma to go to college. And technology is a fun one. Probably one of my favorites. Guilty of that. But then, instead of reading my books, instead of reading them hard copy, as you can see, those kind of fill up pretty fast. There are devices now where you could get books. So I could hold, I think, at least 50 books on this thing. One that I showed you earlier, using the planner or using the phone. Playing games. When I was your age, playing games was probably the first thought I had. Whenever I heard technology, I was thinking of video games, but those are all different things. Because Mr. Giroux is old school. The PlayStation 2 is probably my most up-to-date system, which is what I want to say early 2000s was when that was the hot item. I think there's the PS4, there might even be the PS5 on the horizon, I'm not sure. Technology, though, is everything out there created to make your life easier. I held up all of that stuff because I wanted you to be aware of the fact that it doesn't require electricity. So that's what technology is. Something made for improvement to make life easier or more efficient. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these are all just examples. Now, I want you to also be thinking about what this looks like in your life. So, I just gave you some definitions of this. So daily life are the routines, activities, and behaviors that you do each day. And then, so think about what are things that you do regularly every day. Belief system, religion, but then practices and rituals, social expectations, like how we're supposed to behave in public. And then another thing with belief system could also be, here's another set of rules and regulations. But again, the government system that you live in, if you live there and you believe in it, that's definitely connect to belief system. Forms of artistic expression, it's pretty much anything audio, visual, or hands-on opportunities that allow creativity and allow some kind of communication other than conversation. Economic activity is kind of like it sounds. That one's probably going to be the easiest one for all of you to understand. So yes, it's anything money related, but that looks like jobs. Maybe your education determines what kind of a job you can get. Then financial well-being, how well you are aware of economic activity determines how well off you are for your finances. Trading and exchanging, again, your awareness could possibly help you have an advantage. And then technology, something made for improvement to make life easier and more efficient. So these are kind of the definitions to go through, and hopefully you were paying attention during class. And also, these are examples that I gave you. Now it's your turn for the far right column on your assignment. I want you to come up with as many examples of what it looks like in your life. For the column that said examples that apply to your life, your definitions are here. Hopefully you were listening to things I was saying, and hopefully you've been paying attention in class, whether it was with me or Mr. Fucci.